This is a well-run stream. Welcome to Friday Evening Trains. I'm very good at this. Um, oh, need to turn the gain down for this. Otherwise, it sounds like I'm inside your head, and nobody wants that. Yeah, this is a this is a well run stream. Babida. Okay. I'm just gonna apologize right now. I've had a very long week at work, and brain no worky very good right now. So we're just and to celebrate that, I'm doing one of the hardest scenarios I ever published. Which is Hoo Haul. It's a typically soggy autumn afternoon. You are in charge of train 6 Yankee 1-2, the 1323 Tunbridge West Yard to Who Junction Stone train. You are just about to depart Tunbridge with a Class 59 and a rake of stone wagons. It's wet, but you shouldn't have any problems on the run to Who. Good luck. That is absolutely false. We are going to be having wheel slip all up and down this bitch today. So, Tunbridge Signal. Hello, driver. You are cleared to depart Tunbridge West Yard as of your scheduled 1323. Get some wiper action. Turn the markers on. There we go. So, this is the Class 59, which I don't believe has actually ever made an appearance on this channel before. Or, I mean, on stream. I honestly have used it in a couple of scenarios, I think. If not as the player train, then certainly as AI. So we are at, since we have a minute, we are at Tunbridge on the Chatham Main and Medway Valley lines route. So we are at Tunbridge on the Southeastern Main Line. We are going to follow the Southeastern Main Line as far as Paddock Wood, which we will then turn away from the Southeastern Main Line onto the Medway Valley line. The Southeastern Main Line continues this way over to Ashford, and that's the branch to, or that's the line to Hastings. I think that's the Southeastern Main Line. Yep, the Southeastern Main Line up to London, and I believe this is the line over to Red Hill on the Brighton Main Line. Anyway, so we're going to continue up the Medway Valley line through Maidstone, and then we are going to pass under the Chatham Main Line. And then get onto the, I think it's the North Kent line? Up through, Higham and then into Hoop Junction. Alright, so we are now cleared to depart. Waiting for the brakes to bleed off here. Giving us a little more throttle. So we're actually now picking up speed pretty decently here as we work our way out of Tunbridge Yard. As you can see, quite a collection of aggregates traffic here in the yard. We are being diverted onto the goods lines because I think I read this timetable a bit too literally when I was making this scenario. In that, I believe the proper routing for the train is through the goods line, but we're not being overtaken or anything, so I highly doubt that the signaler would actually bother. So yeah, you can see we have, well actually for some reason we have a single yellow, but we do have a green signal at the end of the goods loop. Bit more throttle, see how we do. I'm even less sure why we're being routed through the mail platform. I don't even know if we have the clearance. Excuse me. Oh, just barely. That's totally fine. Alright, so the line speed is now 90 miles an hour, but as a Class 6 train, we are limited to only 60. So we are now out on the southeastern main line. We are slowly gaining speed. We are running under clears, although if we were following anything, they'd be well ahead of us by now. Alright. So we're coming up on a flashing double yellow, indicating that we are going to be turning off the southeast main line up ahead here at Paddock Wood Station. And I think it's either a 25 or 30 speed limit coming off of the southeastern main line and actually turning on to the Medway Valley line. Oh, no problem, Carta. Thank you for your kind words. It is 25. Okay. So I'm going to shut off the power because this thing takes eons to slow down. It's a flashing single yellow. Little bit more. Try not to get any wheel slide here. This is a Class 59, so it's kind of a precursor to the Class 66. They were originally delivered in the mid-1980s to haul stone trains for Foster Yeoman, who were actually the first private company to operate on British Rail since before the Railways Act of 1947 that actually created British Rail. But So this is kind of like like I said, this is kind of a precursor to the Class 66. It's also built by the electromotive division of General Motors. So it was built in the U.S. at the LaGrange, Illinois plant outside of Chicago. I believe they might have actually been built in London, Ontario. So you should say we are turning off of the Southeastern Main Line. The line continuing that way is the line to Ashford, and we are now pulling on to the Medway Valley Line proper. Yeah, it does. It does. It's a well-modeled cab. I do enjoy it. But anyway, so they were built in either North America or somewhere in North America, and then brought over to Britain in the mid 1980s. They proved very, very successful and very, very productive, and so I believe more Class 59s were built, and then that eventually gave way to the Class 66 in the 1990s. Ooh, there we go. Now we're getting some slip. No, this was already AGS 288. Some sand and give it another notch. Nope. Dang. Trying to get up to line speed here, which is 45, but not liking it too much. Station is that? Oh, Belting is the station we just passed. Alright, maybe now can take notch 4? Nice. All right. We got a 20-mile-an-hour speed restriction just popped up on the HUD, so think about slowing down for that here in a second. There's the Morpeth board warning for it. A lot of crossings on this route. He said like he didn't already. Actually, I didn't already know that, so. Little more brake. I might have already whistled for that one. I can't even remember. Nice. Got down just in time for that one. Speed restriction is for Yalding Station here. Oh, nope, not ready for notch 3. Taking her nice and slow. Trying to gain just a little bit of speed here. Alright, now we can maybe pick up some speed here. I must say, one of the things I like about this route is, even though it's not, you know, very busy by British standards, there are some gorgeous stations on it, like this one right here, which is what? Oh yeah, Wateringbury. I mean, this is just absolutely gorgeous with all the brick. It's a very, very nice station. There's a couple other really nice looking ones, too, on this route. Should be able to kick it up to notch 4 here in just a sec. I think once we get above 30, was previously when it could take the 4th notch without a wheel slip. Oh, East Farmley is the next station. Speed limit is dropping to 40. It's just popped up on the HUD, but that shouldn't be a problem for us at the speed we're going. Although we are getting a nice roll on now, so hopefully we can keep that up. work with board wording for the upcoming 40. One thing I did forget to mention about the Class 59 is that it's basically just an American SD40-2 squished into a tube. So it's got the same prime mover, same traction motors, even same bogies, or as trucks as they would be known in America. We're now passing through East Farley Station. But yeah, the bogies, all the internals, all the electronics, pretty much identical to an American SD40-2. Which kind of makes sense, because the SD40-2, certainly at the time the Class 59 was developed, was probably the most successful American locomotive ever constructed. There's like 4,000 4 or 5,000 that were built between 1972 and 1988, just in North America, for both American and Canadian railroads. So, very successful model, and obviously it translated very well over to the UK market. We've got a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit coming up that will be as we pass through Maidstone West Station. Oh, there is a more people. I don't know why I thought all the other speed limits worked with board showed up on the HUD, but they certainly do not. So. Actually, I'm going to hit this one pretty hard, because if I remember correctly, it's pretty hard to actually hit this one. Since you have actually very little time to react to it. Relative to how well the train actually brakes. I don't think we're even going to get down. I will address that in one moment, Carta. I'm just making... just trying to make sure we get down. We're not going to. We're just going to miss it. DB actually own what used to be the English Welsh Scottish Railway, EWS. They acquired it in 2007, 2008, I believe, from a company called Railworld, I want to say, I believe, which is probably most famous for owning the Wisconsin Central Railway in the U.S. state of Wisconsin. Is that the... No, that's not. Where did we pass over? That's Maidstone Barracks. Oh, no, we didn't pass over yet. Oh, now I'm all turned around. Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay. So, yeah, DB own a own one of the private freight companies in the U or not the U.S. the U.K. So we're passing through Maidstone Barracks Station and then under the line between Ashford and Otford. Nope, wasn't thinking. No, it is Railroad. Rail America was a short line holding company in the U.S. that was acquired by. I want to say it was acquired by Genesee, Wyoming, who also actually owned Freightliner. Nope, not quite. Yeah, I mean, I can see where you could be confused if you don't, if you didn't already actually know that. And you were more familiar with mainland Europe trains than you are UK trains. That's for speed limit that doesn't affect us. Oh no, it is. I don't know why that's not up on the HUD then. Oh, there. I don't know why that's so far out. Alright, well, I'll just let it coast for a while and let friction do the work. What do we got next? Islesford. I think Islesford has one of the nicer stations. New Hythe. Snodland. It's one of my favorites. Halling, Cuxton, and then Shrewd? Strood. One of those fun little HUD glitches. Nice. I feel that. Before I built my current machine, I was using a laptop, and let me tell you, that thing took a beating playing TS. I am getting wheel slide. And now we're speed. Oh, it's just. Man, that's some super elevation. Or can't, I believe, is the technical term in the UK. Okay, here's another. I really like this one with the gray. Is this Islesford? Yeah, Islesford. It's another really pretty station with the cobblestone. It looks kind of like a medieval castle. Which, I don't know, maybe that's what they're going for. But it's funny because it's like such a medieval looking building, but it's got, you know, the modern station clock and the passenger shelter and the ticket machine. Although it does still have a signal box, so I don't know if that's active. It might not be. Oh, the speed limit went back up. For all the good it does us. I was hopeful. I think this was New Hythe. Yeah, it's New Hythe. I certainly hope there's plenty of padding for whatever's behind us in the timetable. Maybe? Nope. Dang. man, it's like the little engine that could. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. Except it's not a hill. It's like flat. Almost got away with that one. Oh, another nice station. Here at Snodland. Besides having a great name, it just has a great, great little station. It kind of reminds me just a little bit of like an American station building. Very nice. Like I said, some very nice stations on this route. Yeah, they really do. That's honestly one of the reasons I don't do scenarios for Donner's Pass as much, is because just so much of that route is just mile after mile of 25-mile-an-hour running. It's impossible to feel like you're actually getting anywhere. What do we got here? Oh, Holland. Alright, I think we have one more station. Yep, one more station before we get screwed. closed industry. This is Cuxton. This is the last station before we get to Strood. Another very nice station building. So now passing under the famous, or coming up on the famous Medway Viaduct, which takes High Speed 1 across the River Medway on its journey between London, St. Pancras, Ashford, and the Channel. And next to that is the bridge that takes the M25 London Orbital Motorway over the River Medway as well. So, kind of two adjacent and famous landmarks. Although the M25 seems to be pretty devoid of traffic. That, of course, is the River Medway to our right. Morpeth board for the 25-mile-an-hour warning as we approach Strood, with a further 15-mile-an-hour reduction as we actually pass through Strood Station. Just going to give us plenty of break. So coming up ahead on the overbridge is the Chatham Main Line out of London Victoria, that runs towards Gillingham, Faversham, Ramsgate, and Dover. And we are going to be joined by a spur off of that line just as we come into Strood Station here, at slightly above the speed limit because I waited too long to brake. But that's fine. I know what I'm doing. It's okay. This, like I said, I believe is the North Kent line that continues on through Gravesend towards Dartford and ultimately London Bridge, Blackfriars, and Cannon Streets. Or not Blackfriars. I don't think. Is it Blackfriars? Cannon Street, Waterloo East. Oh, Charing Cross. That's right, it's Cannon Street and Charing Cross. This is also where trains off of High Speed 1 from Ebbsfleet International pass through. After Gravesend, instead of continuing through Dartford, you turn off into Ebbsfleet International, and then travel up High Speed 1 through Stratford International and ultimately to London St. Pancras International. Who Junction Yard Foreman, good afternoon. You are cleared into Who Junction Up Yard. Please ensure your switches are set to Up Yard 6A. You can ignore the red signal before the yard switch. I believe that's my American showing. It should have been the yard points. But that's fine. 6A. The 12-car stop, I believe, is there for trains reversing in and out of Strood. Since it's kind of hard to tell exactly how far you've gone in a tunnel. Okay, yeah, I did remember that correctly. I did use class 319s in place of class 700s, since at the time I released this scenario, the class 700 either wasn't out yet or I didn't own it. One of the two. Either way, it wasn't available for me to use in the making of the scenario, and so to represent Thameslink services that now operate on this part of the route, I use that class 319 instead. So. The 319 is definitely a good drive. I haven't actually driven it in a while. Maybe I should fix that. Oh shoot, thanks for the raid, James. And thanks for the follow. We are creeping along through, I think it's called Strood Tunnel, with a heavy aggregate train, and we are just about to our final destination. Which is Who Junction Yard. Up Yard. Nice. And if you're wondering why we're not going the speed limit, it's because the scenario is set on a rainy day, and our train is so heavy that if I apply too much throttle, it'll start, the wheels will start slipping, which is bad. You don't want that. So just gently giving a notch of throttle at a time, as the train will take it. So we're coming out of one long tunnel here and into the next. And as soon as we pop back out into the rain, the wheel slip starts. Don't need the wipers on in the tunnel. So I just reduced the throttle there a notch to combat the wheel slip. Let's see if I can give it back. Looks like I can. Too much power, otherwise we're just going to end up slipping again when we come out of the tunnel. Which we might do anyway. We're now coming up on Hingham Station. Yep. Nice. Get that under control. So 15 coming up as we enter the yard. We are coming up on a yellow signal, but we were informed previously that we could ignore the red signal at the entrance to the yard. So I'm not going to stop for that signal. I'm just going to proceed into the yard. I am going to start braking. This train brakes very slowly, and I want to make sure we are slowed down in time for the 15-mile-an-hour speed limit as we enter the yard. So now coming up on a repeater signal, which is basically kind of tells us whether or not the signal up ahead is red. So it's horizontal, which means that the signal ahead is red. If it were at a 45-degree angle, that would mean the signal is not red. In their most basic form, repeaters can't tell you anything about the actual signal aspect, other than whether or not it's red, so it can't differentiate between yellow or green. There are some newer ones that have gone in on a lot of routes that can tell you the actual color of the signal aspect if it's not red. And I forgot TPWS was going to go off. TPWS is a safety system on the UK rail network that basically sets an emergency brake application if you pass a red signal, what's known as a SPAD, or a signal passed at danger. So to our right is Hoot Junction Down Yard. On our left, as we are entering, is Hoot Junction Up Yard. The difference being just what side of the tracks the actual yard is on. So in the UK, rail lines aren't noted by which cardinal direction they travel. It's what they are. It's what each individual track. Sorry, which direction each individual track heads in relation to London. So up is always towards London. So we're technically heading northbound towards London into the up yard. But if we were heading south towards London on a different route, we would still be going up. And then down is just away from London, again, no matter what direction you're going. So if we were going the other direction on this route, we would be going south, but we would still be going down. But if we were going north away from London on a different route, we would still be heading in the down direction. So that's just what up yard refers to. It just means that we are on the it is on the upside of the main line. I'm going to release the brakes from our emergency brake application, and then pull the rest of the way into the yard. So as we very slowly get moving here. So now that we're out of the tunnel, we are driving a DB Shunker liveried class 59 with a loaded aggregate train. So we departed Tunbridge West Yard about an hour and 10 minutes ago with this train. And we are now arriving at its destination of Hoot Junction Yard. Slowly but surely. As the unfortunate train behind us waits. It's a very full yard. Very full. Don't want to go too fast, or we're going to actually overshoot the end of the siding. So actually, I'm just going to hold it at this speed. We are now off the main line. I don't think we actually quite totally fit in the siding. Oh, maybe we do. It's close. Letting off the brakes a little bit. Oh yeah, we do just kind of barely fit in the actual siding. All right. Throw on some brakes. Watch the other Thameslink train go by. Bring her home. All right. Good work. We'll work on breaking down the train from here. Scenario complete. Thanks, Carta. It is really, actually quite enjoyable. It's not a high speed run, obviously. Um, but you know, it is kind of a nice challenge having to manage the throttle and watch the wheel slip, and yeah, it's really one you have to watch. Yeah, only 3.2 percentage wheel slip. That's a lot of wheel slip. Ideally, you wouldn't have any, and even if you do, it would be like 0.5%. So, so yeah, that was a fun challenge. So I will be right back. I'm gonna go get another drink, and then we'll do our next scenario. So I will be right back. No problem, Carta. Thanks for stopping by. Hope to see you again. All right. So for some reason this one wouldn't cooperate. And I bet I actually know why, but so 2 weeks ago on the live stream we did Lightning Strikes Part 1. And so now we're gonna do Part 2. So I was dared. This wasn't planned. That's actually true. Lightning Strikes was only supposed to have one part, but a couple people were asking about a Part 2, and I figured why not. So after a brief wait, you are about to resume your journey. You'll finish the run into Springfield, where you'll have to back into the yard to hand over the train to the New York Central. So the context is the New Haven Railroad's usual freight line to the west is closed due to flooding, and so this train is detouring up the Springfield line to Springfield, Massachusetts, to detour over the New York Central. Springfield Line Dispatch. Hello again. You are cleared to depart northward. You are cleared all of the way into Springfield. The Central will contact you about entering their rails. Dispatch out. Get the windows open. Oh, but we do have numbered lights. Class lights. Instrument lights. There we go. And so for power, we have a quartet of New York Central liveried Baldwin RF-16 Shark Nose diesels. Obviously, they're called Shark Nose because, well, look at them. But yeah, these are a very early type of diesel locomotive that was manufactured by Baldwin. Probably, well, not probably, definitely more famous as a steam locomotive builder. One of the big steam locomotive builders, along with Alco, the American Locomotive Company, and the Lima Locomotive Works of Lima, Ohio. It's Lima if you're in Ohio, it's Lima if you're in Peru. So please don't at me about the pronunciation. America has a long and proud history of butchering the names of more famous European and I guess not just European, the names of foreign cities. Turn the bell off. It did download as a free roam. Stupid thing. Approaching the speed limit here. Just gonna pull back the throttle as we re-enter the main line. And it's completely shut it off here, actually. Much clattering. So this is the Virtual New Haven Springfield line, developed by Virtual New Haven, a very nice developer actually. So this is the New York, New Haven, and Hartford's Springfield line set in the, I believe it's the 1950s. Not quite as it looks today. This would have been more in the line's historic heyday. This line does still exist, though. It is currently used by Amtrak for services between Springfield, Massachusetts, and New York Penn Station, as well as the Connecticut Department of Transportation for commuter services, I believe, between Hartford and New Haven. So now passing the Wilson Depot building on the left. So this line runs between Springfield, Massachusetts in the north, where it intersects the Boston and Albany line between Boston and Albany, Boston, Massachusetts, and Albany, New York, and is anchored at the southern end by New Haven, Connecticut, which is on the kind of famous Northeast corridor that runs between Boston and the United States Capitol in Washington, D.C. And it features a full-size Cedar Hill yard, which was kind of the New Haven's main classification yard on its system. It is no longer it's no longer a major classification yard. It is used by, I believe, the Providence and Worcester Railroad, and I think that's it. Possibly another New England short line, but it's no longer a major freight terminal. So like I said, this line kind of illustrates it in kind of its glory days before the New Haven really kind of fell into bankruptcy and was kind of forcefully included in the Penn Central merger. And kind of forever lost to history. So look at a nice roll by here. So we just departed Hartford, Connecticut. So that's Hartford Union Station there. A couple of branches. There are a few branches modeled with this route. You have the Suffield branch. You have the Windsor Locks Airport branch. What else? I don't actually know the names of half of these, but that's not a branch. A couple different branches included on this route. That exterior horn is way too quiet. Missed that one there. Oh, should probably start braking for that speed limit. Whoops. Not want to do that. Started my whistling sequence a bit too early there. One of the interesting things about backdated routes like this is that you have all the little line side industries as you pass through every town that you really don't have anymore today. You do still have line side industries, but they're usually like massive industries like steel plants or cement plants or grain elevators. There's not really like a little small time factory that only distributes in 2 states that ships like 1 car a week type deal anymore. Or at least they're a lot rarer than they used to be. I'm too used to having to drive gently from the last scenario. Right in the back of the caboose for a bit. It's performing a lot better. I think I said this last time, but I'd love the jointed rail sounds on this route. They're such a nice touch. They should get way more smoky. But first we're going to pass through Hayden. Get 2 out of this one. It started way too early. So for anyone who's not familiar with American rail operations, there is the rule governing sounding the horn or whistle for grade crossings is known as Rule 14L, and it basically kind of exactly lays out what you do. Rule 14 in general lays out all the ways in which you have to, all the situations in which you have to sound the horn, but 14L is just specifically for grade crossings, and so it's 2 long blasts, 1 short blast, 1 long blast. So 1 long, 2 long, 1 short, 1 long. And then you do that in a continuous cycle until the leading truck of your lead locomotive is through the crossing. Now, there is no kind of set definition as to how long is. Long can be very long, and long can be not long at all. This locomotive kind of has a long horn loop, so it's kind of hard to demonstrate, but you could, like, do, you know, mat, and then that would technically be a 14L. In the eyes of the law, like, there are engineers that cram it into, like, the last 30 feet as they approach a grade crossing, so. Other rules include 2 short blasts before you start moving the train. So you'll notice I did that at the start of the scenario when we first started move off. I did 2 short blasts before we started moving. There's also sounding the horn when approaching a track work zone. There's also a few others that I can't think of off the top of my head, but there we go. We're now coming into the town of Windsor Locks. Still in Connecticut. We're pretty much going to be in Connecticut until right before we get to Springfield, which isn't very far north of the Massachusetts state line. Is the Windsor Locks Depot. Speed's trying to creep up there. So as we come around the corner here, we're going to be crossing the Connecticut River. I believe it's the Connecticut River. I say things with such confidence. Yeah, it is the Connecticut River. I know what I'm talking about. So yeah, this is the... That's actually not the Connecticut River. This is the Connecticut River. I think this structure is single-tracked now, though. Ugh. Google Maps could load. Yeah, it is single-tracked. Warehouse Point. There's the Warehouse Point Freight House. I love that strategy of using the bridge piers to take power lines across the river. So we'll actually cross the Connecticut River again when we shove back across into the New York Central's Springfield Yard. So. This locomotive really does sound great. Although it could probably sound louder for being in full throttle. Oh, I got 10 miles to go to... Whoops. 10 miles to go to Springfield. That's not too bad. Got a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit coming up as we come into Thompson Falls, or Thompsonville. Jeez. Ooh, the Thompsonville Carpet Company. They would have made you some top-notch shag back in the day, I bet. I apologize if I'm not super interesting today. I'm pretty tired, so not not a lot going on up here at the moment. Um, I will say, Springfield, and in particular, the New York Central Springfield Yard, um, are kind of a great example of one of my least favorite aspects of scenario building. And that is filling yards. Because it's essentially busy work, but you kind of have to do it, otherwise it's going to look goofy because there's not going to be anything in your rail yard, and that's just not realistic. So, and I can illustrate that a lot more clearly when we actually get there. But yeah, placing AI trains and, you know, populating all the little line-side industry with cars, like, that's nothing. That's a breeze. You know, I really enjoy that part, because, you know, you get to imagine, oh, you know, maybe, you know, this shipper has like 2 cars today, and then you can kind of, or you can kind of picture, oh, this train's coming, or for an AI train, you know, you can say, oh, this train's coming from, you know, this location. It would probably have, you know, this kind of car attached to it. And it's kind of fun to imagine all the loads that the trains you're placing are hauling. For instance, anytime I'm doing a Southern Pacific scenario on Sulphur Summit or Donner Pass, I always imagine there's at least 1 carload of beer somewhere in the train, because the Coors Brewery is in the city of Golden, Colorado, which is also actually where the Colorado Railroad Museum is. And it's just outside of Denver. And it's a pretty big rail shipper. It's these days served by the BNSF Railway, but before that it would have been served by Burlington Northern, and before that it would have been technically the Colorado and Southern, which was a subsidiary of the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Railroad. But anyway, so since the Burlington Northern didn't go kind of directly west of Denver to, you know, areas like Sacramento or Oakland, they would interchange or hand off those cars to the Southern Pacific, or before that Rio Grande, in Denver, and then that railroad would take it west. So yeah, anytime you see a westbound manifest in one of my Southern Pacific scenarios, there's at least 1 carload of beer somewhere in that train. Kind of misjudged where the crossing was on that one. It's so hard to do a condensed 14L with such a long horn loop. Mr. Overspeed strikes again. So we're coming into South Springfield now. I believe we are actually in Massachusetts. Oh yeah, actually Longmeadow's in Massachusetts. So we crossed the state line just after passing through Thompsonville. Was when we entered Massachusetts. So we are in Massachusetts. I guess we have been for a while. A couple of miles. So Springfield in this area was a pretty actually busy railroad town. You had the main line of the Boston and Albany, which was owned by the New York Central, that kind of passed through. You had the north end of the Springfield line, and then you had the south end of a Boston and Maine branch that kind of came down. I don't actually know where it originated. I don't think it's there anymore. And so, you kind of have this three-way sort of interchange, between the New Haven, the New York Central, and the Boston and Maine. The New Haven would be originating passenger trains out of Springfield Union Station for New York. A lot of famous New York Central passenger trains would be passing on their way through to Boston. You'd have the New England States. I believe there was a Boston section of the 20th Century Limited. Looks like the storms knocked out some signals in the area. A signal in Springfield is stuck at red. Just request permission. Press tab to pass it. Dispatcher notes. So now we're coming up on the New Haven's rather compact facilities here in Springfield. Is it that signal? No, it's not. It's the next one. Good evening, Code Monkey. Unfortunately, you've kind of come in just as we're kind of getting to the end here. But it is good to see you nonetheless. Ah, well. Frame rate's taking a bit of a beating here. It's kind of a built-up area. A lot of cabooses. Boston and Albany dispatch. Hello, you are cleared onto our iron. Please pull clear of the station and prepare to reverse. Dispatch out. Alright, so we got permission to pass the red signal here. To slow down to 10 here in just a second as we kind of come around the connection into Springfield Union Station. Continuing off to the left there is the connection to the Boston and Maine that I mentioned earlier. We are coming around the corner here onto the Boston and Albany. So you can kind of see. So there's the Boston and Maine connection into, or onto the Boston and Albany, and into Boston Union Station. And you could, of course, experience the Boston and Albany all the way from Springfield to Boston in the recently released Boston and Albany route from G-Tracks, excuse me. That's an awesome route. I did pick it up. You should absolutely check it out. It's a very well done route. Kind of in a similar style to this one. It's set just a little bit later. It's set in the 60s. But that's still kind of in the full New York Central era. So lots of New York Central goodness there. So yeah, it is kind of an odd set of diamonds. I think it's just kind of the reality of, you know, you have the Boston and Albany mains here, and then you have the Boston and Maine connection, and it was probably too expensive to build a bridge. Actually, it probably would have been too small a radius even to build a connection that kind of went directly onto the Boston and Maine tracks here, so they just kind of had to swing it around. You kind of have to think too, this would have been built in the steam era, so you would have had, you know, actually I don't know what size power the Boston and Maine would have tried to use, but I could easily imagine like a 280 consolidation or a 282 Mikado having trouble negotiating something that was a lot tighter than that. And it was also built in the era where, you know, they kind of just, you know, didn't care about money. Yes. Well, to be fair, if Google Maps is anything to go by, this layout doesn't actually exist anymore either. Um, Most of it actually does still exist because Springfield Union Station is still Springfield Union Station, but let's see. There's only one track that goes on to what would now be the former Boston and Maine, and it looks like this connection has been removed entirely, as has the roundhouse here, and actually most all of these sightings. And Interstate 91 just kind of powers through here now. Slowly but surely, you're coming around the connection here. And I mean, normally you wouldn't be trading massive trains like these. It's obviously just kind of in the context of the detour in the scenario. But you probably would have just had a switcher stationed at in the yards down here. Then they would have made probably 3 or 4 transfers a day over to the New York Central to swap cars. And I mean, the New York Central probably would have, had one stationed out here too. Or definitely would have had larger like this. They definitely would have had probably a couple, but then, they would also have a switcher that would make a run across the bridge and interchange with, the Boston and Maine and the New Haven. So, but yeah, you wouldn't be, and they'd be probably like, 5, 10, maybe 20 cars, at a time. As various trains arrived in their respective yards. Well, I mean, also because this also would have been the era where there probably would have been 3 or 4 manifests between Cedar Hill and Springfield a day. Probably one in the morning, one around midday, and then one in the evening. Because it's kind of how American Intermodal is scheduled now, where you have multiple trains. A day between, various endpoints. You also have, whereas back then you would have had, multiple manifests between major yards. And now you only have one a day to and from any kind of major classification yard. So. Oh god. Oh god. Yes? No? Oh, God. Oh, no. Blue wheel of death. Oh, come on. Oh, come on, respond. Oh, come on, you can do it. Oh, God. You can respond. You can do it. Oh. Oh, no. Oh, I think I'm going to have to call it. Oh, dang it. Well, congrats on the new PC. Ah, oh, darn. Oh, we were almost done, too. Oh, all we had to do was just reverse back across the river. Ah. Oh, well. Well, on that unfortunate note, that is going to do it for tonight, I guess. Unfortunately. Just remember, anything you see on this stream can be found, or pretty much anything you see on this stream can be found on Steam Workshop. Linked is on the Twitch homepage, and will be sometime in the nebulous future in the YouTube description. Oh yeah, for sure. Keep an eye on the Facebook page. I'm not entirely sure what the stream schedule is going to be for the next couple of weeks. I might be available next week. I might also not be. So keep an eye on the Facebook. The relevant link to that is in the Twitch homepage. But if you are watching this on YouTube, the link to the Facebook will be in the YouTube description, and give that a check out too. Also remember that there is now the Enhanced series being hosted on Train Sim Community. I need to actually get the enhanced version of the Red Arrow out, and I should probably add the Train Sim Community page to the various links. But those are out. Check those out if you are able. And let's see. I think that's everything. Yeah, so bit of an unfortunate end, but either way, thanks everyone who, god damn it, I need to stop playing with that power strip. Thanks everyone who came out tonight. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time, whenever that is. Alright, bye.